Hello, my name is Keith, aka LoLByTheNumbers, and welcome to another 2014 League of Legends World Championship video analysis. Once again, this is a video analysis, not a shoutcast, though there will be plenty of spoilers throughout the match. I'll be focusing primarily on macro level strategy, particularly team compositions, their win conditions, and how teams do, don't, and should pull off these win conditions. I'll also be taking a look at map movements, objective control, individual matchups, item choices, as well as the occasional individual play when it's paramount to the win or loss of a team. For this match, we have OMG against Samsung Blue. This is their second match in the group stages. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into picks and bans. In picks and bans, we see OMG banning Alistar and Thresh as first off. I really don't agree with this Alistar ban. Samsung Blue have been banning Alistar even when they're on blue side. It's almost a guarantee that they're going to ban it on purple side. So it's essentially a throwaway ban. And there's no reason for OMG to be using it. Their second ban is Thresh. And then on Samsung Blue side, we see Zilean Maokai. Next, we're going to see Ryze being banned by OMG. I also don't think that this is a really strong ban. Going just had a really good game on Ryze. I would prefer to have seen OMG ban out Lee Sin, ban Kha'Zix, ban neither of them, whichever one, and first pick Ryze. Also note that Acorn has yet to play Ryze in the group stages, so it's not really a high priority for them. So looking at the picks and bans, that's the next one that comes up is going to be Zed for Samsung Blue. So let's take a little quick look at it. If OMG hadn't banned Alistar, they could have instead thrown a targeted ban, say, towards Orianna. They could have used it to ban out another support. They could have used it to ban out an ADC, particularly ban out Twitch. They could have used it to even ban out something like Orianna. They could have banned Zed themselves. Either way that OMG played this, that ban is really just not a necessary one. They could have started out with the Thresh ban. Samsung Blue would have banned Zilean, throw in another generic ban, Kha'Zix or Lee Sin. If you're really going for this Lee Sin pick first, probably should ban that Kha'Zix. In the next rotation, you'll probably see Samsung Blue ban out Alistar, and then you can decide what you want to play in the top lane. Do you ban out Ryze, first pick Maokai? Do you, ban out Maokai, leave up Ryze? Do you leave up Maokai and Ryze? Grab the Lee Sin first. Now you have two strong champions up there. I just really think there was a better way for OMG to play the banning, with Alistar always being banned by Samsung Blue, and Ryze having yet to be picked up by them. But this is the pick and ban phase we ended up with. On OMG's side, we see Lee Sin being picked up first. I know that Lee Sin is essentially the premier jungler, but he's pretty on par with Kha'Zix. I don't really feel that first picking Lee Sin is all that essential for teams. Kha'Zix is just as good, if not, he's only like 2% worse or something. Kha'Zix also has a few more options in game in terms of strategies, so I don't feel that picking that jungler first is really necessary, even though you do want to pick that jungler first if you're looking for the counter picks later. Like on Samsung Blue side, we see Janna and Kha'Zix being picked up. Generic support, already know the jungle, gives more reactions to Samsung Blue in terms of counter picks. But as said before, OMG could have first picked Ryze. Going was doing so well on it. And then they could have just traded. The other team could have got Lee Sin, they could have got Kha'Zix, something. As we see, they go for Yasuo. Perhaps if they didn't ban Alistar, then Samsung Blue wouldn't have banned Maokai. They could have first picked Maokai, looked for the Lee Sin, or if no Lee Sin, they could have done a Jarvan jungle, go with the Yasuo that they're going to end up picking up. Just feel that this pick and ban phase wasn't optimal. but they do come out with a decent team on both sides. So we see Nami and Aurelia being picked up by OMG, with sort of the trifecta band and the only one left up being Rumble. OMG are grabbing Aurelia, who's pretty strong against Rumble. On Samsung Blue side, we see Kayle and Twitch being picked up. This means we get to see a Kayle Twitch combination. It's really strong if played correctly, but rather difficult. It also means that Kayle is going to be pretty safe against Aurelia. Aurelia will beat him in the 1v1 after level 6, but not until then. And Kayle can simply use his intervention to block out her damage, run away, wait out her ultimate, and then go back to sort of the harass farming stage. So it's a pretty safe matchup on both sides, with particularly more safety on Kayle. In OMG's side, we see Tristana Yasuo picked up. I don't like this pickup of Tristana, especially after seeing Twitch. I think you want to grab a bigger lane bully. Having seen Janna, though, we do know that Tristana Nami is just slightly better than Janna Twitch, so picking up Tristana doesn't really hamper you in lane. It does still hamper you in the mid game, as Tristana has a really bad mid game, whereas Twitch turns into an assassin with his Blade of the Rune King. Tristana is very safe against the assassination of Twitch, though. She's able to use her knockback and leap, and then Twitch can no longer kill her. She's gains too much distance that even a flash is not going to help. And then on OMG side, we also see Yasuo being picked up. Generic strong champion. Don't particularly like him with Tristana. I'd rather see some ADC with a bit more mid-game power spike. However, they do have Lee Sin. This makes Yasuo pretty strong. So they've got a good thing going here. There's no real huge qualms against their team. It's pretty solid. On Samsung Blue side, we see Orianna being picked up. I really like this Orianna pickup. It facilitates this Twitch Kayle composition, allowing Twitch to get into position really fast with the double speed ups. It's also very strong in lane against Yasuo if played correctly. And just as overall a good champion. Provides Samsung Blue with some control, a little bit of CC, some good wave clear. Kind of really shores up a lot of the weaknesses that Samsung teams had while providing good utility as well. So these are our teams. Let's go ahead and see. Don't want to talk about. No. Let's go ahead and talk about team compositions first. We'll go with OMG's team. OMG have picked some very strong lanes, and they really need to find their lanes to win this match. Tristana and Nami have to find the 2v2 to fight Twitch Janna. They'll be able to win the lane, though Twitch and Janna could potentially go for the all-in at level 1, try and get some trade damage. It's very unlikely that OMG would let this happen. Around the level 3 to 4 mark, Tristana and Nami are going to start becoming much stronger than Twitch Janna, especially as Tristana gets range. She can poke Twitch with Nami's slow. Nami can get an easy bubble off the slow, and they'll just simply out-sustain Samsung Blue's duo. So they have the stronger lane, even if they're not lane bullies. So OMG should really find this dual lane. They should also find the top lane matchup, as soon as level 6 hits, they're going to have a really strong power in Aurelia. Even around level 3, level 5, Aurelia and Lee Sin have huge potential to kill Kayle. Aurelia providing the stun that gets Lee Sin into the fight, Lee Sin providing the slow necessary to finish off Kayle. So it's very strong up in this top lane for gank potential. Once level 6 and Trinity Force comes into play, even just Sheen, Aurelia is going to hit a far larger power spike than Kayle will, and she'll be able to dominate the lane at that point. This would also help facilitate OMG getting into their solid tank item onto Aurelia. She's probably really going to want that second armor item, It's going to give her some triple duty. Picking up a Randuin's Omen is going to provide the attack speed slow against Kale and against Twitch, and so it provides double duty even though Kale is running or is AP. This goes the same for if she picks up Frozen Heart afterwards, as well as if she decides to get a Spirit Visage or Banshee's Veil, that provides double duty against Kale and Orianna. So getting some tank items pretty early on Aurelia is really going to help out. The other real strong lane that OMG have going for them is this Yasuo lane. Unfortunately, Yasuo can have a very hard time against Orianna. I'm a little confused as to why he's picking up Exhaust. Should probably be going for the fight potential with Ignite. If you're using Exhaust on Orianna, it's probably already too late for it to save you. So OMG in the mid lane, they want to wait until the level 6. Lee Sin wants to come in and they want to make a lot of plays with Yasuo. They need to take this Lee Sin synergy with Yasuo and move it across the map. Yasuo can even go bottom. Their synergy with Tristana, with Nami. Yasuo can ultimate off the knockback of Trist. Trist can simply jump at Twitch when Yasuo is in range, ult him. Yasuo mashes his ultimate so Twitch doesn't get knocked back. And then you have a really easy follow-up into Nami Bubble or Nami Ultimate. Very solid kills. So this is very strong lanes that OMG have going for them. They don't necessarily have a strong overall team composition. There's not a lot of synergy between them. The only real synergy is the brawling potential of Aurelia, of Lee Sin and Yasuo combined. They can provide a lot of power, and potentially they should be able to beat out the trio of Samsung Blue as well. So as long as they can find the lanes that they want, then they wait until the level 6, go look for neutral objectives. Look for the second red buff, look for the second blue buff, whichever side of the map they're on. Find these small jungle skirmish potentials. Even looking for dives against Aurelia, or not against Aurelia, against Orianna would be very strong. So there's a lot of potential in the trio of OMG, and if they can stall the game out, bring it to the sort of 30-minute mark, 35-minute mark, then Orianna, or Tristana, can start to reach her hyper carry status. So that's OMG's plan. If they can get a kill or two in the mid game, this should give them enough of a power spike to be able to control dragons, as they will be the stronger team in the mid game, even if it's only by a little bit. Their big worry is going to be this Orianna in around the level 7 to 8 mark. Twitch once he gets displayed to the Rune King, and then after that it's really on whether or not OMG have created a lead by that point, and they really should have. One thing to point out that was also noted by the casters in this match is that Tristana picked up Explosive Shot at level 3. This prevented her from having any potential to freeze the lane, and allows Kale to get some good CS and some decent EXP, more so than Aurelia is able to get up top, maybe by half a level or something. But there was no real reason for Tristana to pick up Explosive Shot, even if, as a Tristana player, you want to max your Explosive Shot first, if that's how you like to play. Then in a freeze, you just idle with your levels. You leave them in your level pool, and you don't use them until you're right there ready to fight or use it for the first time. Never bother picking it up during the lane freeze, or even in the laning phase sometime, until a fight breaks out. So that's OMG's team. That's their win condition is just get the strong lanes, win the lanes. Unfortunately, we don't see that happening for OMG's side. Samsung Blue do pull out the 2v1. They get the free kill onto Twitch in the level 1. OMG go to place a ward super deep for no real apparent reason and get caught out. So then everything is going in Samsung Blue's favor right now. Aurelia's been really hampered. She's at 16 CS. If it had been in your standard lanes, she'd probably be at around the same that Yasuo and Orianna are, 40 CS. Because she's so shut down, it might actually be beneficial for her to skip the Trinity Force and move into armor items right away. Let her stun be her strength for her team. We don't end up seeing that though. She does go towards the Trinity Force. On Samsung Blue's side, their win condition is use this Kayle Twitch combo to great effect. If throughout the World Championship in the group stage, we've seen several matches where this combination is used. Twitch opens up on the enemy team with intervention. This allows him to get off his rat-a-tat-tat, go into these awkward positions that put him onto the side of the enemy team to get the line damage, and then he's protected from being killed by intervention. This also works with Janna. If Twitch goes in, Janna sort of follows with him. After the intervention is over, Janna uses Monsoon to knock the enemy team away, thereby protecting Twitch. This also works very well against Lee Sin and Yasuo. When they go in, Janna can shield the target, use her ultimate, and this will block off a lot of the follow-up. We see Orianna getting a solo kill into Yasuo, and this is why Orianna is pretty good against Yasuo. If you know proper ball management, and I'll try and talk about that later, then you can win simply by ball management. You use auto attacks primarily to harass, and always know how to use your ball when Yasuo attacks. In that situation, Yasuo went into Orianna, but Orianna's ball was far away from her. Instead of calling her ball back with command protect, she throws auto attacks at Yasuo. As he runs away, she uses command attack and dissonance to get in place. Shockwave pulls him in long enough. She's able to follow up his attempt at trade damage because she didn't pull the ball back towards her. If she had pulled the ball back towards her for command protect, then Yasuo would have had more time to create a larger distance away from Orianna, and then the travel time of using the command from Orianna instead of the forward location probably would have allowed Yasuo to get away without being hit by her ultimate. So a lot of the ball positioning is dealing with travel time. OMG do make a good response here though. When Orianna backs and Yasuo comes back alive, they just go straight for Dragon. They do have the early game power, especially with the Lee Sin Yasuo synergy, and so it's pretty easy for them to take. It's at this point in the game that OMG should really start to look to make plays with this Lee Sin and Yasuo combo. Either head for the red buff of Samsung Blue when it spawns next, look for a gank onto Orianna, maybe move to top lane and go for a dive onto Kayle. Yasuo can even go, well, he top lane now that Tristana and Nami are up there, and go look for that dive onto Kayle. Alternately, him and Lee Sin could head towards the bot lane. There's a ton of wards from Samsung Blue though, so it'll have to be very tricky to get in there. In fact, this Janna has littered the jungle of OMG. It's Janna and Kha'Zix have really taken complete control of the map. And this is another thing I have to point out about Orianna against Yasuo. You need these side wards, especially against the Lee Sin match. It's absolutely essential that Orianna get these wards on the side of her lane. That way she knows when Lee Sin is coming. If she knows when Lee Sin is coming, she can continue to bully Yasuo even after level 6. It's not Yasuo himself that scares Orianna, but the synergy that Yasuo has with other champions that scares her. So moving back into Samsung Blue strategy, aside from just this Twitch positioning with a Twitch Kayle combination, we have Orianna there to protect Twitch as well, and Janna for peel. So there's double shields going onto this Twitch. There's 2 move speed buffs. There's 2 displacements through Orianna's ultimate, through Janna's ultimate. So there's a lot of protection onto this Twitch, who can be the engage for Samsung Blue's team, who can be the playmaker to look around the map. Samsung Blue also want to make sure that they get the 2v1, allowing Twitch to get extra levels early on, get into this assassination role quicker, and reach his Blade of the Rune King much faster. As the game goes on, they want to move Twitch around the map, try and look for picks, just try and get kills with him and get him fed, let him reach the late game. As the game goes on, both teams are going to have sort of similar scaling, with Aurelia and Lee being the ones to fall off, where Tristana and Yasuo will slightly scale better than Twitch Orianna. Tristana primarily will scale better than Twitch through range, rather than through pure damage ability. Samsung Blue have a lot of control, though, through the Kayle ultimate, through the displacements of Orianna and Janna. So there's a lot of tools on both sides. If Samsung Blue get ahead, especially on Twitch, they have a real huge pick target. He has the ability to make the plays, whereas on OMG's side, the playmaker is going to be Lee Sin. And Lee Sin's not going to have nearly as much gold or power in him. The other benefit that Samsung Blue do have is, since they have the disengage of Janna, since they have the ball of Orianna and Kha'Zix's Spike Rack, Samsung Blue have the poke advantage. It's not huge amounts of poke, but it is something. So if they're going to siege up a turret, if they're going to push down, they have options to throw at OMG and try to whittle them down. OMG are also lacking in wave clear. What this means for Samsung Blue is that if they can get ahead, then they can just force their way through the towers of OMG. Without solid wave clear, no matter what team you are, if you're fighting a team who gets ahead, you just become in a lot of trouble. And this is triply so when you only have one ranged champion on your team, that being Tristana. You don't have any ranged skills on Yasuo or Aurelia, so everything is in Tristana's hands to provide wave clear, but she doesn't have strong wave clearance, so we know how this works out. Now that Twitch has his Blade of the Rune King, Samsung's game can really start. With the mass amount of vision control that they have, Twitch can go look for picks, and he can feel very safe having Orianna to peel for him, having Janna to knock people away and give him shields. At this point for OMG, they're a little bit screwed. They can send Yasuo off to the side to split push, try and get him enough farm to become this huge threat in the side lane. If he can get strong enough, then Samsung Blue will be forced to deal with him. However, Orianna has been shutting him down. We see a 40 CS lead and a kill. This has just been in the 1v1. And here we do finally see the first time that Yasuo synergy has been used, and this is something I have to mention. OMG have played very scared this game. They're not making any moves in this match. In fact, that's the very first time that OMG have even sought to make a play. All their turrets have just been taken by slow pushes from Tristana. The dragon was given over to them, and even ever since level 6, Yasuo hasn't used his ult. It's been 4 levels since Yasuo and Lee Sin have been able to hit their synergy, yet they've never used it. In fact, Lee Sin hasn't even made any real attempts to move to help out this Yasuo. But we do see Samsung Blue making moves. We see them going for another pick with Twitch. This time they end up getting it. Samsung Blue are conceding dragons, so we do have to make mention of that, but it's been in the proper situations. Earlier when OMG had the stronger team fight, right now when they were able to catch out Orianna and force the 5v4, so they're properly respecting OMG's team. But as this match is going on, Samsung Blue have just taken complete control of the map, and there's not really a reason for OMG to be playing so passively. I do know that Aurelia is pretty shut down. OMG might be thinking, okay, let's wait till Trinity Force. Let's wait till Trinity Force. But the other lanes are doing fairly okay, and you need to use this synergy. The gold score is pretty much even, so OMG need to be making moves, but they don't. They play this entire game scared, and it's very unfortunate that they don't use the synergy of their team. What OMG could do right now to win, or to try and generate a lead to get back in the game to win, leave Tristana in the middle lane, let her do her thing. She can get her escape against Twitch if he shows up. There's no hard CC on Samsung Blue's team that's going to surprise her. So having Tristana just clear out the mid wave, have Nami sit behind her in the back for peel and just engage if it's absolutely necessary. Send Yasuo off to the side lanes. Let Tristana get her farm there. Let Yasuo look to outplay Twitch or any of Samsung Blue's members in the side lanes. Really well placed wind wall could give Yasuo the time he needs to out-duel Twitch. Yasuo is also carrying Exhaust, which is going to be very strong against Twitch. So it's potentially possible that he can outplay the Twitch in this scenario. So that would be an option for OMG. Have Yasuo split push, take care of a side lane, while Tristana takes care of middle, Aurelia takes care of top. Get some good wards. You really have to find the Twitch though in this competition. I'm not sure what other option there really would be. You could look for Lee Sin plays in the middle, but Samsung Blue have really warded up this map very well. It would take a concerted team effort by OMG, sending 4 people to the mid lane, clear out the wards, clear out the wards in the bush, the river, get a lot of vision control. That way Lee Sin can start to try and make his plays, moving around to flank Orianna, to flank Twitch, and get that combination with Yasuo. That's one thing that really ends up being lacking for OMG this game, is their vision and vision control. As noted earlier, at one point there was like 6 wards in OMG's jungle. Now this mid lane is still littered with protection. OMG's wards are only sitting around this dragon area, and to be fair, they have controlled that, but still they're not making good use of this. If you're gonna ward up this bottom jungle like they have, then you really need to be able to pressure mid, pressure the top tier 2 turret, and force Samsung Blue to make rotational mistakes through the jungle. Going back to talk about the items, I really do feel that Aurelia should have picked up, just gone straight into Randuin's Omen instead of Trinity Force. Not having her Trinity Force and it being 20 minutes in the game is going to be really rough on her, since she's sort of the pseudo tank of her team, the one who really wants to get onto Twitch. I feel it would have been better for her to have that armor, to have that attack speed slow. Unfortunately, without that Randuin's Omen, it's also too late for her to really all in Kale, who has his Berserker Greaves and his Nashor's Tooth, who is ahead enough to survive and then return damage onto Aurelia when she has to flee after her ultimate. I'm not sure what Yasuo was thinking going with this BF sword when he's already built a Bilgewater Cutlass. You should really, at this point, finish off your Blade of the Rune King, or if you're not going to finish off the Blade of the Rune King, don't bother with the Bilgewater and pick up your Infinity Edge or Bloodthirster first. If he had gotten this Blade of the Rune King instead of this BF sword, he would have been able to better fight Twitch in a split push scenario. And then buying this kind of forces Yasuo into the team fights where OMG are much weaker. Samsung Blue have a lot stronger team fight unless OMG can initiate it. And that's the only way OMG are going to win these team fights, is by initiating it with a Yasuo kick. Or with a Lee Sin kick into the Yasuo ultimate. But once again, OMG are playing scared. They're not making any moves around the map. The moment Samsung Blue groups up as 5, OMG are backing off. They're slowly getting whittled down out of this game. And every time Samsung Blue come near, they're just running away. Like, this would be a great... sorry, Lee Sin already used this kick. But that would have been a great time. Def was out of position. They could have jumped on him. Tristana could have used the knockback into Yasuo ult. Yasuo could have ulted off of Nami's wave. Aurelia could have dived on top of him. They're playing scared. And I think I'm going to just go ahead and stop reiterating myself. OMG are playing scared, and that's a big reason why they lose this game. They never play well with the Lee Sin Yasuo synergy, they never look for these skirmishes, and they don't find the strong lanes that they needed to. They had to find the 2v2 and the 1v1, but since they didn't, things have really gone downhill. Without a saving grace of wave clear or the saving grace of a stronger late game team, with 3 of their members being weaker than their opponents in the late game, especially in the team fight scenarios, there's no light at the end of the tunnel for OMG in this situation. Samsung Blue, on the other hand, have played phenomenally. They got the right picks with Twitch, they found the right lanes, they denied Aurelia, they've not fought at Dragon during the wrong times, they've played exceptionally well individually, particularly Orianna, and they're starting to scale into the point where they're a much stronger 5v5 and eventually going to be stronger individually. So let's talk a little bit about lane matchups while we wait for Samsung Blue to slowly take the win. Aurelia against Kayle is a pretty interesting one. Kayle's able to bully Aurelia early on, but one of the problems with Kayle bullying champions is that Kayle bullies through auto attacks. This means the enemy champion is able to back away before a lot of the burst damage comes out, as opposed to Kayle maxing, say, his Q. At level 5 it can hit for about 180, whereas an auto attack is only going to hit for about 60 to 70. So this means Kayle needs to hit about 2 or 3 swings for him to have better burst trade. What this means for his lane opponent is that they're able to easily predict when Kayle's going to go for that trade, as well as when to just simply walk away. Aurelia just needs to time her Q dashes to when Kayle's E is down. She can go in and get some easy CS. She can also dive onto Kayle himself when his ranged auto attacks skill is down, Righteous Fury. This allows her to make really strong trades against him, and about the level 4 or 5 mark, Aurelia should be able to showcase this against Kayle. Particularly at level 6, Aurelia is going to have a much stronger all-in. Anytime Kayle uses his Righteous Fury, she can dive in after him right after it. She can easily get trade damage, let Kayle use his intervention. When his intervention is up, his Righteous Fury will probably be down, depending on how he times it. And then Aurelia can use her stun afterwards to get good follow-up damage. If Kayle is running away, then Aurelia can also use her Q dash to escape to a creep after her stun wears off, providing her with very solid trade damage. Kayle, however, is able to heal through this with his W. It does take some time, and essentially Aurelia can whittle him down. Once Aurelia gets her Sheen and her Phage, she is going to be able to just 1v1 Kayle anyways. Doesn't matter about his intervention. She dives onto him, takes him down to a 3rd HP or kills him, pushes him out of lane, and now she has the advantage. Even if he sticks around, his intervention is down, she can tower dive him. This is also benefited by the fact that she's so good in a gank. Her and Lee Sin should easily be able to take him out in a much stronger way than Kha'Zix and Kayle could take out Aurelia. So this is essentially the matchup up top. It's a lot of Kayle bullying, Kayle pushing the lane in, and Aurelia able to get her farm under tower or get her farm while taking just minor damage from Kayle. So it really works in her favor. The Yasuo Orianna matchup. I'm going to talk about that one really quickly. It's all about ball placement in this matchup. Orianna has a very strong auto attack. She should be using it to abuse Yasuo in lane. She doesn't even need to use her ball to harass. If Yasuo tries to go in, then if the ball's on top of her or very close to her, she can get a very quick command protect, followed by an attack and dissonance. She ends up out trading Yasuo. The other option is if she's trying to use the ball for harassment and she has it far away from her, then when Yasuo goes in, she simply starts to back up and throw her auto attacks at him. When Yasuo decides to run away, she catches him in the retreat and is able to out-trade him there. The worst thing Orianna can do is try and use her ball for harassment and have it far away from her. When Yasuo goes in to attack her, she uses command protect. Yasuo gets the dash on her, gets the auto attack in the Q, and then starts to walk away. When he's walking away, he throws up the wind wall. By the time command protect reaches Orianna, her command attack is going to hit the wind wall and he's going to get out safely. This is why she needs to be very careful about where her ball is at all times and how she's supposed to appropriately respond to Yasuo's harassment against his aggression. We saw it perfectly in this game. Yasuo went in against Orianna. Orianna's ball was far away from her. Instead of panicking and pulling in the ball for command protect, she simply auto attacks Yasuo. He throws up the wind wall and runs. Since her ball is already behind the wind wall, she's able to command it in, get the shockwave and the distance, flash in, ignite, follow up for the kill. And this is the proper way to play the Orianna vs Yasuo matchup. It's a lot more difficult for Yasuo as he is essentially out of options and should just practice farming until level 6 and then look for Lee Sin to come in for plays. The one thing Yasuo can do is capitalize on Orianna's mistakes. If she ever has the ball far away from her, he has the ability to dash through creeps, get into her, and go for the all-in. He should really stick on top of her until she uses command protect, and as soon as she uses command protect, he should back away and throw out the wind wall to block any response from her and trade damage. So that's the mid lane matchup, and our match is over. I hope that you take away from this game the particular importance of getting your proper lane matchups. OMG's team composition was really bad. They didn't have any real synergy. They just had strong lanes and a strong mid-game spike. However, they lost their lanes. Their strong lanes got negated by Samsung Blue running the lane swap, and then their strong mid-game got a little bit negated by the kills they gave up. Twitch getting the early first blood, getting a second one on Aurelia up top, Yasuo dying in a 1v1 to Orianna. They really lost out on their power spike ability when they were strong. They made good moves against Dragon to secure it, and Samsung Blue properly didn't bother fighting them there. Samsung Blue properly used their composition to find more Twitch picks throughout the game. Twitch having the confidence with Orianna, Janna, and Kayle backing him up to go for these really crazy plays. And eventually, Samsung Blue just got to the point where they were stronger even in the 5v5, got past that mid-game power of OMG, especially by denying Aurelia, and they were able to just slowly push in to OMG, defeat them at towers, defeat them in lane, defeat them at objectives, and just won the game through brute force. And that's our match. Hope it was entertaining. Hope it was informative, even more so. The notes for it can be found below. as well as a link to my portal page for all of my 2014 League of Legends World Championship video analysis and notes. I'm Keith, aka LoLByTheNumbers, and thanks for watching.